I think we're good to go with that.
Nice night.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So, run the task whenever you're ready, Jax.
Okay. Good timing. Good timing. Good timing.
Epic.
We can't see, but
Welcome. This is 90 Platinum and Moonberry. Pretty epic.
Hope y'all are ready for a very fun time.
oopsie.
Uh-oh.
That was
It
perfect.
looks like we're
timing.
still on intermission screen.
Rerun it. Oh.
Okay. False start. False start.
Oh no, we died with the platinum.
I would have gone
no.
further.
Oh no, I guess we have to start again. Oh no. Second attempt, can we do it?
Okay, okay. 50% success rate. There we go.
Come on, can we do it this time? See if we can get
Shut
past
up, Parrot.
Parrot. Oh my god.
that. Alright, so the main thing that start has is a lot of moon boosts. So if you dash into
I can do
a
these
moon
strats.
block,
Oh, wait, I got a
it
notepad
kind of
for these
gets
strats.
pushed back a bit. And if you dash into it, you can corner boost quite a few times in a row and get speed added to your per corner boost. So you can chain those quite a bit and get quite a bit of speed very fast.
I wish I could play
And
start like
we
this.
have
That would make
a
it so
new
much more bearable.
One of many, fortunately. For the viewing experience and for the taskers. Alright, one tech that's really interesting here is something that was discovered just a couple months ago. We dashed into the moon block one way, went to the other side, and dashed the other direction. And that gave us a significant speed boost. It's kind of a recoil. It's a really fun tech that'll be showing up later as well.
So you might have just
Oh,
saw
true.
it in that room right there,
Right.
but we paused quite a few times. We call that spinner stunning because it stuns the spinner. We'll go more into depth in that later. But one thing I would like to mention, it's applicable to this checkpoint and a couple others in the future. Key routing can be really annoying in key hubs, which are checkpoints with a lot of different rooms connected by a lobby, where there's just a ton of keys to get, and there's a lot of different ways you can get them. So it's just figuring out which one's best is a lot more harder than a lot of other keys.
So that last checkpoint, all the vertical climbing with jellyfish, you saw we were abusing jelly bumps that give us upward boosts after wall
no,
bounces.
but I did get the announcement.
You have a 33 frame window to grab the jellyfish to get that boost, and it still applies even if you started moving down and touched the ground. So at the start of Glimpse of Freedom here, you saw us gain a dash that way. Yes, 33.
And there's also a little thing that we do in a couple times throughout this task, and there's sometimes unintended upwards transitions that can work with 3 tile gaps between rooms, and this is used a couple of times to skip
I've
some
done that
sections of
strat possible.
gameplay,
Or I have done it once
which,
positive.
you know, is faster. Skip some slow parts. Right now we're just going through the checkpoints.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of demos.
Oh, that's sick.
We can make a nice little speed boost there with getting a lot of different corner boosts off the back of that moving block. Moving blocks are just great for that in general.
Oh my god, moonblocks are so silly.
Yeah, take it in here.
After this funny intended unintended screen transition, we're going to be using a trick called camera smuggle.
Cuggle!
So we just got a lot of speed off of that moon block in order to touch a camera trigger during the transition into that right room, and then we left the trigger during the first frame of movement. That causes the camera to still be stuck. We're using center camera to show you what we're doing, but the camera is actually stuck at the top of this room, so we can just go through the spinners and get a whole lot of extra keys here.
God, they get extra keys because they can demo. That's enough.
All right, so now that we're getting out of the Curiosity Key Hub, this room, you do a hyper B-hub into a corner boost, or maybe not B-hub, but you do a hyper into a corner boost, and with that speed you can crouch jump.
Yeah.
And now we're in the event.
Oh right, I should do that strat. Surely that's more consistent.
So now we finally have some more time to explain
Yeah.
spinner stunning for the uninitiated. There's a common pattern you might be familiar with of pause, unpause, play for 2 frames, pause, unpause, play for 2 frames over and over.
Yep.
If you do that, you can go through
Show me your Cloud Room
one-third-ish of spinners.
God,
as
I
we'll see
wish.
later in the task, which third changes over time. You can pick a third, but which group of 3 that a spinner is in changes over time. It's called spinner drift, and it makes things very interesting later on.
Wow, that's sick.
And sometimes it makes things impossible, depending on what you're talking about.
God, the task movement in this game is so cool.
So yeah, since unpausing wastes some time, it's a very delicate act of balancing how many pauses you need, and what the alternate route would be like.
And
Oh,
here coming up
God.
is an infinite speed trick. So
What?
what we're gonna do here
Oh,
is
'cause the
collide
Fetty?
with the wall for retained
What?
speed,
You can do
neutral
that?
into the bubble to get it back, and then climb jump again to stay to get another 40 speed,
What?
and then fall down to stay in place, and repeat that
never seen
over
that
and
before.
over to build up, I think, 1500 speed.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
that was found.
They did a
very
high spin,
reasonable.
a hyper of the spinner.
It kind of looks a little sillier because we have to pause, but if you didn't have to pause, it's so hilarious because you just stay there for like a full second and then you shoot into the nowhere.
Not really a lot going on with these checkpoints. Just good movement, making sure we get the optimal route through each room. Go above that electricity because that's normal.
Yep.
You do top route for every single electricity there. It's pretty fun.
This room, shoutouts to
Oh.
SHHGTG for that delayed ultra at the start to keep a dash, and also to me for learning how that core block recoil
even
multi-boost
get the
tech
lava
works
in
in that room. Any main game taskers, if you've been here since the 8B improvements, that's about how long this has been in the works.
Are they gonna dance on top of the block?
So that
Come
little
on.
movement at the start of this auto scroll room wasn't just for show. It looks very cool, of course, but it's also so we don't
Moving
have
it
to
is
move
slow.
the
Yeah.
auto scroll block because moving it around while it's moving up
Can't
makes
they?
it move
I want to see
slightly
them dance,
slower
spike jumps on
upwards.
top of the
So
block.
we want to avoid that as much as possible.
Boo.
Also, we're getting infinite stamina there by just whenever we jump over the block, we land on it for a frame, but since the spikes are moving up, we can get our stamina back, if not our dash.
This room, I was very scared. We're going to do a reform
Wha-
tech off of this core block. I'm scared because with auto-scrollers, that's unseated RNG. So you could run the task twice, and the first time it fails, the second time it
yeah.
works. Luckily, core blocks are not like that.
Do we not need to do any of them?
I think that's one of
No.
the only forms of RNG, like, in
Oh
the
no, we
entire
spin or something,
source
right?
game
Okay,
is
that's true.
reseating blocks.
This is viable.
Almost all the keys in this checkpoint are slow, so we just don't need any of them except this one. But that
Oh, you can do that, let's go.
That stun is a lot more interesting than it looks because we have to avoid.
Hey,
these
I
key
also
doors
do
for
that
as
left
long
right.
as possible.
Crazy.
Otherwise, we do end up using a key during it. The way we did
Show
it now,
me-
it
show
uses
me-
no keys. so
Show me the
that's a lot.
Akron
So
skip.
that's very nice and very
Show me the
helpful for
space UK
team.
strat. Yeah, there you go.
Right there, we got a trick called Bino Control.
Yeah!
Bino Interaction Storage, which lets us cancel Grounded Ultra, which lets us skip Acheron, which
Space
is
DK.
everyone's favorite room,
Acheron.
especially during 90 platinum attempts.
Alright, so exploration is infamous for being one of the hardest checkpoints in the entire level.
Yep.
Rightfully so, because it is the very end of the event horizon, and it kind of goes all out. But there is a very interesting trick.
It's just
to use
Akron now,
here where
officially,
we
that's
use this Oshiro
so
to slow
funny.
down time at the right way to not lose any time. But it also allows us to affect how the spinners moved
I should do that.
in that random seeded group. Which is extremely helpful for future stuns that might need to stun 2 or more electricity or spinners
They're
at the same
8
time.
minutes into
So
EX
we use
sound.
this for a stun later up. Double hypers.
Vipers. I'm so sorry.
There's a trick we can use in the screen here with the snowball trigger. If you do a grounded ultra into a snowball, the
Wonder if you
snowball
could set up
cancels
the
that
demo.
and lets you get a lot more speed out of it, which is a really fun tech that you don't see much outside of Chapter 4 themed maps.
This room we
First note.
skip a no refill trigger, but not a core mode none trigger, which lets the bumpers be bumpers and everything else be hot. It also takes the
Over
lava
top.
away, but
Yeah.
there's a core mode hot trigger there, so it doesn't matter.
No, that's not viable. It's fucking impossible. For the record.
So yeah, the rest of this checkpoint is pretty standard. Got some string here, you know. By the way, these dream blocks are vanilla entities, believe it or not.
True.
They're just unused. So Monica dusted them off for this level.
Cool little speed preservation there to skip a lot.
Oh, that movement looks really funny. I love
movement
that.
that we don't want to do because it's slow. And then we have
Uh-huh.
moonblocks, so it's so over for anything. There we are.
Oh, it's bright. Okay,
We
they
use
made it
the
bright for
command
chat.
here. It's supposed to be getting very dark, but that's not very good for a showcase, so we moved all the darkness to the background so you can see.
This is applicable in 3 different checkpoints. So
Oh,
the
that's
next
we
one
found
is
how to
right.
solve upright dash, right? I
usually
found it
completely
out.
blind, but you know, we need to be able to see what we're doing.
Okay, under, I guess.
Here we're gonna ground it ultra so fast we clip through a tile of lightning in 1 frame.
True.
And at this
And
point,
here-
I'd advise you not to blink because we just did 9
Uh-oh,
climb jumps
uh-oh,
off that one move
uh-oh,
block,
uh-oh.
and so the rest of depression isn't going to take a long time.
Also, the first time we did after that jump was why we needed the Oshiro
Oh yeah,
earlier.
the darkness is in the background.
Because you need to stun through 2 different things of lightning there. Kind of annoying, but you know.
And now it turns out, despite us putting the darkness in the background, you can't see anyway. We're just so fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, where'd you go? Where are you going?
Oh, you can see
So
trust now.
fast. Smiley
Cool.
face.
Welcome to Trust.
Alright, so the name of the game in this checkpoint is as many cutscenes skipped using
Over.
as
I
little
discovered you could
skip
do that
cutscene presses
recently.
as possible. In that first room, we touched 2 triggers on 2 consecutive frames, so skipping the cutscenes only actually skipped one of them,
Oh.
and we used the other cutscene ending naturally to skip the 3rd cutscene.
We
True.
get a big speed boost off that
Another
auto
one?
scroll at the very end, and we also do a recoil right there, which allows us to basically noob through
That's
the
so
rest
cool.
of this room. And
11
into
minutes Serenity.
Let's just skip 2 cutscenes at once.
Man, I wish I could skip the bubble hyper like that.
So now we're in Serenity. It's a pretty
I'm
short
sorry for not
checkpoint,
reading
even,
chat much. There's a lot going on. I can't read
for
the
pretty much everyone
much.
really. It's definitely one of the shorter ones, and there's not like a whole lot of like really crazy skips besides that one stun to the outer scroller room, which is helpful because all the scrollers are kind of slow. So it's just better to get a big speed boost and stun to
True,
the end.
good strat.
But besides that, it's just good movement.
In the last room, the
Really?
dream blocks were
Wait.
cycle locked for the whole room, so we can just do some spike jumps on top of the moving dream block just for speed, just for fun.
And we're pretty much at the end because we're at the electricity.
12-minute summon entry. Or, not quite.
This cloud down dashing
Close.
on it saves 1 frame. You're welcome.
So now we're in Summit, 0 meters. This is where we start getting keys at a much faster rate because there's a lot of keys scattered throughout the Summit checkpoints.
Okay, so they're gonna do
And this
Moonberry.
key, for example, it is slightly slower to get it without dying.
There's
Which is
Moonberry.
pretty slow
Wait,
in
that's so
general,
funny.
but it's still just fast enough to be usable.
How many keys are needed in total? 30 something? 31.
Yeah, 31 for
What?
this category.
We need 20 just to get into Moonberry, but there's other keys that we just need along the level that
Yeah.
are helpful to do early. Because one thing that's notable is since there's so many different keys around the checkpoint, or around the whole level, we can specifically choose which ones to find that take the least time. So the cutoff for a key to be
Routing
fast
seems
is you have to get it in about like 6 to 8
Binary.
seconds.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
You intended by in the last room, and also getting this key is really fast.
Yeah.
You only lose like a third of a second. which is helpful for other categories, even any percentage.
2-1 is for TAS, by the way. RTA you would need more. You gotta do some bullshit.
This room was very funny in the previous showcase. Every single room had a new "then we do this" for skipping the intended strats in very funny ways. We have since found even funnier ways. It's great. Just watch.
Uh-huh.
New.
Honestly, traffic blocks were a mistake. Like, how dare they just add traffic blocks when TAS clearly existed?
Oh, they're getting this game.
Speaking of new funny skips, check out this MB6FBH SPH DRCB off of that intro block, intro crusher. Saves 10 frames.
Everyone's favorite tech.
Hope I got that right. I did it from memory.
From memory!
That's also known as a Robo Boost.
Yeah, Robo Boost.
This last room has a funny
Yep.
little gimmick at the end to help you reach the last battle or potentially win trigger. About right here.
And it's barely noticeable.
So this checkpoint doesn't really have a whole lot going on in terms of like crazy movement. It's all pretty standard, fairly intended. So I just want to take a moment to explain just general reseeking, because it is an important part of this level, not just the checkpoints, but the full level reseeking it. So the main thing about resyncing that you need to focus on is spinner cycles and T cycles and other stuff that goes with those. So sometimes it can be just as easy as changing a number. Sometimes you don't even need to change anything because there are no cycles.
That's just
But
I don't
sometimes
think
it is a little more
to.
involved, like exploration, depression, where you need to take a bit of time to
Yeah,
go
they
through
just
them to
throw
figure
weed.
that out.
Oh,
A
they
couple
did
tips for
they did a
that,
seating pop
because
in
it's
that
all about
room,
nipping,
honestly.
whatever you need rather
The
than
wrong seat pop in that room.
So it can, depending on how like fast I'm doing it and how much I focus or whoever else does it, it could take like at best maybe like 2 hours, but typically about 3-4 hours to resync because it's long level, a lot of different cycles, a lot of different stuns you need to go through, and also a lot of drift you need to account for. So just not a lot you can think about.
Thanks, prof.
Alright, welcome to 1500 meters.
1500.
So, even though this style is infamous for cycles, we actually aren't cycle locked in a lot of the rooms, because usually we have the speed or like the precision to kind of do what we need to do to be fast, which made it a lot nicer to TAS than it could have been.
It's like the same Sakai have at the end.
Coming up here, we're gonna get a dash refresh behind the switch gate here. It looks like
They
there's
got the
floor
key
there,
as
but
well.
no,
It's
the
a
Dust
pressing.
Bunny is covering all of it, so we have to get dragged into the ground by that moving block.
Unless it's to get a key very fast though. So this room is another example. It's like the exploration room of using the Ashir slowdown to manip the time active,
Nice C-pop.
which is helpful for something that happens literally in this checkpoint in like 2 rooms.
Is Rolas Lee. Oh, they're getting this key.
Right
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
this key room,
okay,
you have to
skipping
stun
this key.
to, Dust bunnies, which are basically spinners.
Makes sense. I was
A
like,
little
this
different,
seat
works
does
a little
not seem
different,
fast.
but essentially the same. Same premise of stunning.
The is Rola
That stun
strat!
saves 50 frames over not stunning. That is enough to make the difference between this key being fast enough or slow enough for the TAS.
And this room's also an example, but this one is a lot more useful, but it can also lose a frame depending on what exactly you do, but that's fine, usually. It's only really if it's like... It's only if the next spinner's, like actual spinner cycle doesn't line up well, that it's like, oh, that loses time. But
Smart
usually
time.
it's like just, you lose a frame there, but then you get to wait 1 less frame.
17 minutes spots entry
So it can be
is
nice
so
to use,
real.
and there won't be...
Hi, Viddy.
That wallbout skipped a wind trigger, which lets us use this feather up here to skip a whole lot of gameplay on the left.
So now we're in 2,000 meters.
Is Rola someone that cheated a bunch of
bubble
goldens.
trigger
They
you
basically
did is
just
ridiculous.
blatantly
It says you
tasked
have
their
to get
goldens.
over a bubble and under
get
a
caught
different
for
bubble.
it.
I tried to improve it,
And
I
it was so
just
obvious
quit
because a lot of the
quickly
strats were
I was
horrible. It
This is
looked like
absurd.
first playthroughs that were just improvised gameplay.
This room has an
It's like
intended
hilarious fake goldens.
shortcut.
And
we got
one of
fast
the
enough
strats
to
that
get
did
that
in the fake
bubble.
goldens was that corn jump. but it's
And
actually good.
in the next room
is funny.
is a stun that the previous Oshiro was needed for. Drift becomes much more of a problem after about 17 minutes into the level.
That's because time active is based off powers of 2, so at 1000 to 1028 because it's a float.
The awards were
So
awesome,
after
yeah.
1028. That's what
Good job to everyone
also,
involved.
Molly.
Yeah, this
Hi, Taylor.
room is... Fun fact, the whole reason why I joined the D-Sides Tassing Discord was to add Moon Spring Boost to that room. Turns out it's possible only if you Death Warp, which we cannot do here because we have a
right.
Platinum.
This level is something.
Yeah, so you did a great job on the awards and everyone else.
There's always
Really
something
cool
very
project.
silly in this level. Like, it's
Thank you
found
for
a lot
inviting me
more
as well for it.
kind of silly strats because we exhausted all the normal looking ones. But, you know, makes for more entertaining content.
And coming up in the orb room at the end here, I learned something interesting. Snowballs stopped spawning when you get close to the right side of the screen because that would be mean. But they only check if you've gone back to the left once every 45 frames. I did not know that. I saved 2 frames randomly earlier in the room, fully expecting to just lose it. Nope, Snowball randomly came 45 frames sooner.
God, I love cycles. Cycles in this level make a whole lot of sense and aren't confusing. Anyways, we're now in 2,500 meters. It's basically very similar to 500 meters in that almost every single room has some sort of ridiculous skip and is not really done as intended. It's very funny to watch.
Here, this slot block, Maddie lift boosted is 1/12 of a pixel per frame slower than the block, so we can just spend 11 frames on top of the spinners before falling into them.
There's a strat that was recently found in the next room by Molly.
Oh no. So, Bino control storage, jump scare. I found this 2 days ago.
That's so cool.
You interact with the binoculars and then still have enough speed left over to reach the bubble. Now we have control of both Madeline and the camera, and we can just keep the camera off to the left and go through all the
I remember
spinners.
someone asked, is there bino control storage in 90? And Molly said, no,
faster
there
than
isn't any.
90%
I've looked for it, but I
because
couldn't
it's
find any.
faster than an alternate route that would use a Bubs drop, which would also make it the best, absolute best for Platinum, but it's also pretty fast for any percent too, so it's just a preferred outcome in general.
Yeah, we'll look
Also,
into,
I believe that Bino control storage, there is something with it where if you don't exit the Bino before you leave the screen, Madeline is invisible for the rest of the task.
Oh,
So,
that's
to ease the viewing experience, Madeline is not invisible.
so
Yeah, we can see her with her own little peepers.
I gotta go to the strats.
So we're just coming through the room, and now we're in Dark Room, the Seeker Maze. There's a not much a whole lot to say, but there is one fun fact here. You gotta make sure you dash a little earlier than you might think, because there's a swap block up here you gotta let retract, and then so you can make it in time.
Pretty sure you can interact with another bio to make her not invisible. Probably, but that's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's slow. Not really a whole lot of chances to do that, really.
For some reason, hitting a button moves Madeline 1 pixel to the left, so this looks like it should be cycle locked, but it isn't.
I found that out in my any percent, but if I die, it'd be 90.
Moved away from the blade.
If you remember.
Getting the first key of Sunrise running with the alternate route at the end of that room only loses like 2 seconds because you just move a little bit and then you're like, oh, done.
3K, 22 minutes.
So this room starts a scary trend of very long rooms with multiple flags and cycles at the end. So it's already kind of hard to TAS without subpixel resets, but then also we have to wait at this flag for the correct moon block cycles.
Yikes.
And right now the wait is like 9 frames of slowing down before we get there because the block is too far down, so we just can't get
hi,
speed
Camila.
unless we wait for it to move.
Yeah, it was very cool.
It's a trend actually. It happens a
Very
lot in this
excited for
level.
Yeah, this level has a lot of very silly rooms like that. It won't end for a while, trust me.
And get ready for the part where we skip like everything, starting with refills, followed by an entire flag.
Entire flag.
Yeah, that little skipped flag 63.
Oh,
I think
just
that is intended.
A lot of cool feather skips we can do here because sometimes when the spinners are placed diagonally, you
should
just
do that,
take a
yeah.
feather straight through them.
Just skip that.
Yeah, a lot of weird movement with having weird wind and also moon blocks. So a lot of weird things you can do.
This key? I'm surprised I got this key.
This key
Actually, I
is
guess
exactly the same time as dying, or in any sense, because dying is slower than taking the bubble. One of the few instances.
Yeah, most of the time you want to retry to skip the bubble animation. I believe it's 25 frames slower. But yeah, we have a platinum, so we can't.
We do the trick right there where we climb jump off the side of that spring block, which makes it fall faster than just hitting the spring itself. Pretty small, but saves a decent bit of time.
Sorry. At the very start of flag 51, the one we're at right now, we skip a no-win trigger because the win we were already on was faster, so we just let it rip. Got him!
Got him. Got him time.
So this is based off core, so can't refill our dash on the ground. We have to use a transition or a crystal or some other thing.
This flag, we're going to skip that core switch and then skip a lot of invisible triggers over spawn points, and that's going to
I tried so much. We tried hours to lab this
in hot mode because conveyors here are much better than ice walls.
Yeah, you know, I've tried to lab this so much with a lot of people, but there's like barely, there's like 3 barely not good setups for it.
It's also 45.
These lava barriers have solids inside of them so that you can't go through when you're invincible. However, you can still jump off of those solids when you're not invincible.
Fun fact, when I initially drafted the platinum version of this, I did a really bad stun and skip a death ward. But turns out you could just use the refill and I didn't even think about that for some reason.
I think that had to be changed. At one point, that refill didn't respawn.
Maybe.
Again, forced to run Twitch at somewhere in the next 6 minutes.
A lot of different
I think the best timing for that would be during like our beating.
So.
Dashing in water does not use your dash even in core mode, so we can just dash as much as we want in there. Also, for some reason, holding up makes you sink faster. Also, I know Parrot is watching this and probably looking for platinum strats. Do not do that wall bounce. It's like 0.01 precise on at least one axis.
Dang.
Yeah, it's just straight up not worth it.
However, we would recommend everything else in this task, just not that one wall bounce.
Yeah, the fastest strat for the beginning of that room would be the death port because that moves the lava down.
I was literally just writing something down as they said that.
In a way where we can like get to the end of that part without really using a dash, which is faster. But you can't really do that here.
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah, death ports.
Surely that demo set.
That was recommended. Yeah, totally. That's a good idea.
So coming up in this next flag, something very important to note when you are holding a jellyfish, my favorite core entity by the way, it doesn't have collision with solids, so we can just carry it through the ceiling, and now we have a spare jellyfish friend.
This is so worth it. Just trust.
Trust.
Yeah, it's pretty even, I think, in like the core parts. A little faster, I think. Some rooms are pretty good. Some
I wrote down the demo.
Yeah, it's faster in all the rooms except this one.
This
bubble room is awful.
Just enjoy watching it.
That's
yeah, you can't hold the jelly and bubbles, so we have to do this weird dancing with both the bubbles and the jelly. It's so weird, but we get it.
And
if you
here
just got
you'll
an
notice
ad.
we're holding the jellyfish while flashing red. That's normally not possible, but if your previous climb jump was neutral, you can still grab things in the same window as you could wall boost. Also check out this dashless Moonspring boost.
True.
You can push the moon block back with the jelly and then hit it with Madeline.
Oh, that's cool.
Does the Moonspring, and then you grab the jelly and it's really fast. Fast key as well.
Now you're about to understand why we needed the jelly, because
Early
the next checkpoint is not kind to TAS.
Yeah, this is the cassette block checkpoint. This jellyfish saves like 6 color switches. It's already way worth it.
Yeah. Pretty good movement with the jelly.
This room, yeah, you can dream grab while holding a jellyfish, and that lets you dash while holding the jellyfish. If that tech was not a thing, it would actually be faster to ditch this jellyfish and go get the next intended speedrun jellyfish.
Yeah, there's a secret
because
one.
This is 9D. Of course, there's intended speedrun jellyfish. Like
yeah,
Petunia. The cooler Petunia.
A lot of very silly strats with the jelly.
Bruno. Is this Bruno?
This room right here is very precise with the jelly, but you know, we make it work.
And this room, off to the right, there's an intended route to take the jellyfish further. Unfortunately, it's 2 seconds slower.
Yeah.
However, 90 mini dash does take the jelly up this red bubble column, and it is hilarious.
I've seen that before. It's so fun.
I cannot wait to watch that one screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like there's a lot of streams that are going to be really funny to watch.
Hi, Chuck Theory.
In min dash, if that ever happens again.
Okay, min dash. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, come on.
Mini dash.
Mini dash.
Mini
That's how I always say it in my head. On me.
That's fun. I like that word. I like that term. Accidental finger, as opposed to super dash.
This room, you used to be able to just jump over the whole thing, but the lightning got made taller, so we can't anymore.
Dang.
You hate to see patches. It's funny because that same kind of strat was used a couple times where you just jump over the level and it's like,
I should look into different cycles.
Check out this demo hyper off of the spiked moon block as it moves up.
That is, of course, moonblock cycle dependent.
So we're in,
as everything is.
So now that we finished with the cassette checkpoints, we're now into parting, which is
parting, and the ads on it.
Pink checkpoints. And this one has a really long summit room with cycles at the very end.
Yep.
The intended strat for like the very end is to like death warp, but can't do that, and it's also slow anyways. So this cycle mattered a lot.
The TAS is still gonna get like.
This flag comes from old 7D, so it gives you 2 dashes. That's very important because you can just go over the trigger that sets them back to 1 dash. I believe that's intentional. It was made shorter so you could go over it at some point.
Yeah, because there are several times where there are triggers, but there are intentional skips for them. So I'm pretty sure it was just like a neat little trick that casual players wouldn't really get or even notice in the first place, but speedrunners and plat runners especially take great advantage of, and the TAS as well.
They barely missed that trigger.
It's generally faster to have 2 dashes rather than 1.
At the start of flag 19, we jumped over the leftwards wind trigger to go faster, and we also had to dash a very specific way out of Battlein at the end to dodge more invisible single dash triggers. Also, that strat I actually took from Parrot Dash's Deathless strats.
We got another
huge.
Yeah,
I contributed.
Camera warp, which happens because there's a battling boss at the end, and cameras.
Huge.
Really,
I contributed.
The baddie camera lock.
That's awesome. So actually,
basically teleport to where the camera is. Kind of weird.
This room, the camera lock actually becomes a hindrance. If you touch the right side of the screen, your speed gets set to 0. So we actually have to slow down quite a bit to avoid touching that right border.
Hate to see it.
It's a mutual beneficial relationship. They get strats from me, I get strats from TAS. It's awesome. I wish I could do that.
So this room is like, you know,
Truly, you can set that up.
Too noteworthy, except there's a cycle here that can literally kill you at the very end. Which is a very funny joke.
Yeah, that cycle's funny.
Now we're in true love.
This flag, you can skip that trigger that resets horizontal wind, but it's slower with 2 dashes. Just use it. And this Kevin, shoutouts to SHHGGG for that really clever route.
That's cool.
There's a... Oh, wait. There's a very fun roomie upcoming.
This
one
one
you
is
can
what?
just do.
Random BS go.
Random BS go.
Yeah, this room has like so many different entities.
Seeker's gonna get
that
both those?
move chaotically, and we use like almost all of them in different ways, except the jelly. You don't need the jelly.
There's a fun little trick in this room we like to call Seeker Golf, because we bring this Seeker to the top right corner and then bump into it to push it into the coin. Which
Also, that
I didn't even know was
diagonal
possible.
demo is very precise. It's 0.1x and 0.1y precise, so
I
probably don't do it.
probably don't.
And this flag is fun.
Yeah, let's talk about this screen. So we do a lot of moving with ultras, and we end up with almost 1.5 times more speed than 8C of measurement. About 2,450.
It's crazy.
Trench reds.
Unit of measurement.
Get your trench wide in the chat.
What's the transient ones? Do I have the carry mode?
Now we're in the final key hub of the level, the reunification.
Wow.
This one is different than the other ones because we have double dash. So pretty much every single key here is really fast to get.
I lost my carry sub. Oh, okay, this was bit late.
Just look at Maddie go. Also, we have this funny trick.
Yeah, very cool door at the end
Over
of
the
this
door.
room.
Why use the door? Just go over it.
There's a jellyfish down here we're supposed to use. Unfortunately, we have
Oh
a
my
pause
God.
button instead, and using that repeatedly
my
saves
God.
like 2 or 3 seconds.
Wait, we're getting
So
Moonberry now.
We're gonna use that.
Also, this is probably... I'm not entirely sure, but this is probably the checkpoint with the most use out of the double dash because you're supposed to get one anyways. And if you don't, you have to do like a really weird like alternate route if you want to be optimal. Also, we have to use that key right there. It's unavoidable.
time.
Can't really avoid it. And it's not even needed. It's not like we needed to go through that door. It's just in the way of everything.
Oh, right.
I don't remember.
I'm
These
glad they had
key
fun
doors.
syncing these key
Yeah.
cycles.
But after this, every single checkpoint in the level, compared to just being updated to be cooler, all of these checkpoints are completely replaced, completely new, never seen before TAS. Well, they've been seen in the Ultra Jump TAS, but not here.
Also, these key cycles are different every single time you resync this level. It's very... It's something, that's for sure. Well, at least it is in Platinum. In the normal Moonberry, you die like 2 rooms before for retry.
Welcome to the Moonberry checkpoint. We're taking 2 keys in for tricks that you'll see later, but the kind of theme of the checkpoint is that it's remixes of
like
vanilla
Cat's gonna
rooms,
do
but with
and
slightly different tricks
spin your
added to
side.
them. And over
She
the time, it
paused,
starts
said
like
you.
decaying. It's a very fun checkpoint. And the first thing we'll do here is we're gonna steal this feather, and it's pretty precise, but we can use it to skip having to care about the core mode. And then coming into this next one, we have a super precise B-hop off that swap block just to get up and over. This is the checkpoint that I first tasked in 9D, and it was such a blast because it was basically every single tech combined into like 4 minutes of gameplay. It's
That's cool.
an awesome checkpoint.
Yeah, it's a very fun checkpoint to watch and also look at. You can almost immediately see why we needed the keys, because there are still key doors.
Yeah.
3 of them that
Still
matter.
getting
So,
gold.
And
gonna get
that's
one of
the
those keys.
only remotely fast key in this checkpoint.
yeah.
Okay, so the one.
There's one that takes you around like the entire world just to get it. So
yeah,
we don't
that
want
one.
that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this next screen. So we're about to go to the 8C remix room. Usually we just take a little bit of time to wait for these blocks, but actually since pausing exists, we have to wait 50 frames, or almost 50, for that one red bumper just to move up. Otherwise we could go so much faster. And then here's another great point of
here
using
we
the
skip a bunch of rooms
keys to skip a lot of gameplay. I think that one saves like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it loses 2,000 frames, which is about like
spooky, like very.
a lot.
It's like half a minute, yeah.
Music here is awesome.
We're doing a lot of delayed ultras here just to preserve speed into the screens because the cycles are annoying and we don't like
Uncanny.
D1D7. I never even thought of that. That's funny.
This is where the screens start to get longer and we have to worry a lot more about the global cycles because there's just always a global cycle because this is 9D we're talking about.
Cycles. A lot of very interesting moves here that you don't really see in vanilla gameplay because it mixes mechanics up with weird gameplay that isn't from the mechanics. Also, speaking of weird mechanics, the Super Mario Bros. 3 blocks have a little quirk where you can clip into them.
Oh,
that's
that makes sense.
any platform you can clip through with the feathers.
Any 7.
And coming up here, there is a berry hidden in the red bubble up here. There was going to be a bit of a debate over whether it counts for this category, but there's a hidden screen transition there, so it's faster.
Okay, that's
luckily.
Cool.
And this last screen is incredibly menacing. In my first time drafting, I think I spent over 8 hours just resyncing it because there's just every cycle possible, like Fireball Bumper. We're going to do a pause delayed ultra here to skip the 3D cycle, or 3D cycles, which is very kind.
The reason why this room looks like this way is because it directly uses gameplay from old D-sides that Monica
old
made.
D-sides, E-sides.
This is a neat little concept.
Back rooms!
Right now we're in the back rooms, which is...
Alright. Let's talk about the back rooms. We have 117 of the same rooms copy-pasted from 7A.
Yes, I counted.
Yes, Molly did count, and we are so gracious for her for counting. When I was originally tasking this, I named each room by the direction we were going because I thought we'd have to do a lot of movement and copy-paste the inputs, but fortunately it is kind of unique. And yeah, there are platinum blocks. There's a whole lot of random stuff. I think we're about to hit a room that has no blocks besides platinum blocks. So that saves time, in fact.
Yeah, a lot of very silly rooms in this. If you go exploring, you can find them all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
also
fun
quite a
fact,
few keys.
Monica changes where the keys are every single 9D update, so that's why we can't commit to one key, because they're always different. Here we can hit an upwind trigger, because this room is just a mess and there's triggers everywhere, which saves a whole ton of time. And we also got binary control storage, or binary interaction storage, so we skip the baddie landing.
Sadly, we cannot trail this Moonberry. The teleport waits for you to collect it.
The teleport is
it's
a custom Moonberry that teleports you when collected.
Unfortunate. Otherwise, we could do that old double collect.
That was cool, yeah.
It's kind of
there you go.
fun.
That's why I use fraud there, chat. Now you can see what normally happens in it.
Just like Vanilla Recon, the name of the game here is just minimizing birds and orbs as much as possible. And if we do have to enter a bird, we don't want to make sure our horizontal speed is as low as possible, so it throws us earlier.
The key elevator right didn't even exist in older update though.
This room we dodge a rumble trigger, so we actually can't use that double dash up there.
I don't think it would actually be better. I was like, we're skipping the rumble.
And here, we're going to dash with a jellyfish again. We saw it earlier with dream blocks and feathers. Here it was with the launch state from the pufferfish. Yeah, basically, if you can get into any state other than normal while holding a jellyfish, the game does not prevent you from dashing with it.
Very silly.
Why would they get used for? I don't have to use for that extra platform, but the block is
there
there.
to skip a couple pufferfish, which of course saves time and looks cool.
I've looked into doing the upright.
That upright super puffer super is dependent on the pufferfish's bopping cycle.
Oh, incredible.
This room, this is so close to being able to just get that pink refill up here without needing the jellyfish. Very sad that we do need it.
Speed though.
Do a bit of a mid spring, get some speed to the next room.
Wait, I need to do platforms.
Also right here.
Hearing the Platinum Collect at the end
Also,
is
I
going to be
tried
so freaking good.
very hard to keep speed from that zipper back there. You can do some shenanigans to get speed. Unfortunately, there's a wall and a pufferfish that we cannot get over here.
Especially because it's ice walls. Otherwise, you could try and climb jump, but since we have to dodge them completely, it's just really difficult to make anything work.
Alright, so now we're in the second checkpoint of Recon. It used to be called Edge of the Universe in the Ultimate sides, but now it's called Mostly Absolute Certainty, also known as MAC. It's basically the same checkpoint, just a continuation of it. Same concepts.
Are they gonna... The even TAS needs to do the 3-frame.
And I will say, before the TAS ran, I did go back and see if we could do any vanilla farewell shenanigans of hitting the power boxes and then going back and building speed. Sadly, we have no fun swap blocks. So
yeah, I also looked and didn't see anything.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
You should come help us task this. We have a Discord.
Yeah, we have the D-sides tassing. If you want to look at 9D or even any of the other D-sides, because they're all pretty improvable, except maybe 1D. If you want to just look at them, see what you can find, that would be very cool.
This room we have to wait for this auto-scroller. There's a bird down here that we skip. It's not just for show. Bird launches slow down time. So we actually want to avoid it so that this block gets here as fast as possible.
So we have now technically time traveled in the 90 TAS, if we hadn't done enough already.
Under? Under is also not very viable.
There are a couple really tight dashes in this room to avoid the death floor.
My 90p is gonna get sniped.
In the next room, we're about to get our first stun with Recon. And it lets us gain a lot of speed, and lets us use it for the next few rooms.
Speed.
You. We had to lose it very quickly because of intended routing, but you know, looks cool.
We're also doing a whole lot of grounded ultra cancels using this jellyfish. It just gives us so much more speed and makes the screen a lot faster.
Long vertical room here.
At the end of this room, there's a very blatantly missing jelly barrier. I'm honestly not sure if it's intended, but yeah, we can just keep this jellyfish. Yeah. And the next room is another cassette block room. So just
I don't think.
like
Oh no, you can never get enough speed.
Stubbornness.
There's no way you can get enough speed because you need
like
to spring moon boost for that.
4 or 8, I forget, but a lot of color changes.
What's upwind as well?
Jelly and cassette cycles can go well.
I don't even know. It might have like if there's a chance.
I did also try taking the jellyfish farther into bottomless here. I don't think there's any way it can be faster, sadly.
Mainly because of this room. This room you do a lot of falling. And one thing with this room in particular is that block that we have to let fall has little tiny blocks that crumble depending on where you are. So if you're fast enough and you let that block crumble before the big one falls on it, you can let the big block just keep falling without stopping. That's only done successfully once because it's just there's just so much going on, but it is done, and it is pretty cool.
Bottomless also features a lot of these long rooms that just have downwind, and you just sometimes when there's spikes on top of the block, we can do fun spike jumps on them.
They're gonna do the Ella strat in the one room.
Ultra.
Yeah, not much you can do to preserve speed, unfortunately. You kind of just do the intended as fast as possible.
Quote-unquote intended?
This room, you could Death Warp to save time. Not with the Platinum. Fun trend. And this room, I think, is our only climb hop cancel in the task. No time to explain, but yeah, it lets us demo like 3 frames earlier for that demo hyper through the spinners. Very cool.
Are they gonna do the Ella spike jumps?
Yeah,
I did it.
A lot of very interesting tech all throughout the map because there's a lot of different mechanics used.
TAS is fast, crazy.
Very brilliant feather right there. Lets you skip a lot of spinners. And some nice speed, just for change.
We actually have to slow down here. If you go too fast, that bird doesn't catch up, and there's nothing else up there. You're just soft locked.
You lose dash after start, unless it's
now we're in the second half of Bottomless. We call it a dinosaur game because it's just it's a semi-auto scroller where the wind pushes you very fast.
Well, there's one room that's very
slow, you die, and it's entirely dashless movement because you have the prologue. The prologues mode.
Yeah, most people call it geometry dash.
Prologue inventory.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
It's geometry dash, except for the one room.
Dash if you already have it because transitions don't reset your dash, so it's even worse in like core mode.
No one's tried very hard to skip the triggers that set you to prologue inventory. The main problem, one of them is 41 tiles wide. Good luck getting that speed ever.
Only a couple 100,000, you know, nice and easy.
Simply go so fast.
It should just be called geometry. True, prog. True, it's just geometry.
Yeah, Monica, can you add like another feather bubble by a wall so we can just build infinite speed? That would be great, thanks.
Dude, the test would be hilarious if we did that. Oh my god.
Yeah,
purely because it's funny, Monica. Would you do that?
Monica, spare bubble and feather.
Could you please?
So yeah, it's just, we just have to do good dashes movement. Not really a whole lot going on. We do keep a dash for that one moment right there, but not really a lot.
I think Molly also discovered quite recently that there's wind triggers over the jumps. Do you want to explain that?
No, it's only in the very first room of this section. The wind triggers over like the very first 4 jumps make it just a little bit tighter. Everywhere else, completely normal.
Interesting.
I feel like what would have happened is she thought that at first, but then she probably just got too tired of doing that, so she's like, you know what, it's fine. Makes sense. I feel like they get really annoying having to add the same 2 wind triggers just to make it a little more difficult.
I assume so, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Probably not worth it.
You go look for everything in main game.
In fact, 90 TAS comments were, and maybe still are, the only documentation of how secrets work. That's kind of funny. I never knew that.
I believe it was from that one True Love room where we did some secret golf too.
Yes.
So this might end up being close to an hour, which
I
is
remember
crazy
that.
for TAS.
There was a
TAS taking an hour.
Time where I was working on a different category where you get the golden berries, and this is before the golden berries. This is when they reset your inventory to 1 dash. So I was working on one where it's 1 dash True Love, and I used the old.
I mean, they have platform stuff, so I remember.
It was all over there.
They need to do platforms.
It was just mentioned in chat,
which they won't take.
You need at least 23,500 speed to skip that dash trigger. So it's a work in progress. We'll put it that way.
I mean, they won't be fast, but like there's one really big vertical room, and TAS can only go that fast in a vertical room.
And now we're in the final goodbye checkpoint, which is very, very heavily based off the farewell checkpoint.
And a lot of they're also pretty much all like dashes
based off of
infantry.
You'd think we'd go through the entire thing, but nope. We won't be doing that actually.
It's a bad stun. I will concede that, but it is so worth it. Right. So just allow this one to slide.
Oh no, this one's terrible. Oh no.
The stun is like 30 seconds long or something ridiculous like that, but the alternate is to go through like an entire maze that is a huge screen's worth, and we get some pretty good perks out of going out of the intentional bounds of this. So at this point, I think it's just straight up faster. Although if anyone wants to try to do the alternate route, that'd be very helpful. Just for documentation.
Just a month ago, I found this strat where we used the Moonblock recoil tech to get so much more speed. About 200
to make the 8-minute
jump.
room no longer
it saved
8 minutes.
over 11 seconds in this checkpoint alone, and it was a super cool improvement to find. But yeah, we basically skipped between the intended gameplay section above and the parts of the side just by getting crazy speed and being off screen the entire time, so no spinners are loaded. Also here we have, I think, one of the most funny multi-boosts because it skips such a lore important section by just going as fast as we can. There's one moon block there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this strat is actually like 9 or 10 frames slow right now because there's one moon block that we need to be 44 frames slow for it to matter, because we have to stall for a while just to for it to be in the right place where we can actually get the speed we need.
A lot of moon block segments in this level, in this room especially. Also, similar thing to Depression and Trust, we move the Darkness to the back. Not that it matters much here, but, you know, just to see what we're doing.
Oh, don't even use those
And
feathers.
we've got Bino interaction storage here just so that we could duck under a feather and keep speed.
We have a dash.
And then we are still, we still are smuggling one dash in, which will become important. Actually, very soon.
Right here.
Oh, right there.
Right here. Thank you, Revisit.
I think you can tell how much time that saves by the swap blocks, or not swap blocks, the cassette blocks we skipped.
Alright, so now we're in the poem room, which is, it's a pretty chill checkpoint. The only real notable thing besides the start is that right here a death warp would be faster because it resets the cassettes to a better usable thing, but can't do that with platinum, of course.
Yeah, the rest of this is chill, so I want to take this time to say, cool poem, thank you, Monica. This whole journey you've expressed here was something that
I mean, this is
a
true.
lot of confidence
It's the same.
to come out
It's true of
myself
this piano version,
and
so that works.
enjoy this community to the fullest I could.
It's like the same song, pretty much.
Thank you guys. Yeah,
Well, it's like a rendition.
I've mentioned before that I've been a commentator at previous events, but you won't recognize me under this name, so again, thank you, Monica, for expressing your journey in a way that I'm sure helped your own path forward and also gave me a lot of confidence.
It's just generally a good poem, even if you don't have like personal effects of it, which if you do, that's awesome. But it's just generally a very, very awesome thing to see at the very end of this incredibly long level.
It also references
like
all the
30 hours or even more. It's just probably the most satisfying ending to any level I've ever seen. It really feels like a journey and not just a goofy little D-side.
Anyway, back to the level. Yeah, this... First off, if you still have a dash here, this orb takes it away. Sad.
Yeah.
Second off, this checkpoint is really funny because platinum subpixels are a real thing that can hurt you.
Oh!
How's that going for you, Bane?
The detach.
Oh.
Platinum subpixels!
So, I initially drafted this checkpoint, like, it was probably the last checkpoint. It was the last checkpoint to be drafted. Because no one cared about the extra ones. The only one that was done before was Moonberry checkpoint. And not long after we drafted it, we noticed a problem with how the platinum detaches, and it's that it's somewhat inconsistent. And by somewhat inconsistent, I mean it could literally be in different positions depending on how you exactly do the rooms, which is incredibly annoying. It not only affects the platinum, but it also affects the golden berry. So if you have the recon golden, that would also detach, and that would also be a huge headache for the same reasons. And it
Nothing
goes
to see here.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard room. I think very deathless, very deathless.
Awesome strat.
Like, would recommend that one for platinum attempts.
Yeah, Parrot. That's probably gonna get you like the two segment like tomorrow maybe.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. Anyways, so the detach is worse than you might think, because not only is it just annoying by itself, but also it gets even worse because there was a point in time, and probably still true, that Viv Helper used to affect it because of its helper, a bug in its helper code, which is fun.
I think it's been patched now.
Yeah, it might have been patched. I'm not entirely sure because I don't really. Because of that incident, I make sure
the other huge fraud in
Strider
question.
Jam and all of its dependencies are disabled when I do this.
So yeah, this room marks the end of the prologue inventory. We're gonna go to the left here and get two dashes back. These coyote jumps are not for show. If you were a frame earlier or a frame late there, you would die.
Lovely. So now we have our dash back permanently now. Not that it matters because we're almost at the end, but still. But not that it matters a whole lot even right now, because the very end of this room is there's just not a whole lot going on. Just good platform movements and a spike climb coming up.
You can fit an extended hyper in the
It's our one cool cast trick. We have to have one,
Yeah. Viv Hinder.
Also,
that's
the golden rooms, not the plat rooms.
Yeah.
Told you it was gonna be close.
The final platinum room is probably one of the more interesting rooms in the entire level. It basically just goes through all of Monica's D sets, even the old ones.
In order of
does
creation.
little gameplay stuff for them, and it's just a really cool way to cap off the entire platinum journey and D-side journey. So.
Which is still not over, as you can see by these new dark sides. More will get added. This platinum room will get longer.
And
but
the
for
TAS
now, we're
will
done.
be invalid.
Oh no.
Yeah, as Parrot said, they're in the order she made them. Just really cool.
There we go, GG.
I should do the hard roster, honestly.
Incredible TAS.
Yeah, this took a long time to make. Not even just like this category, just in general, getting this level to work together and improving it. It's been long, a long and very, very rewarding process. 55-20 or 55-52.
There was a point in time we were going to try and go for all 5s, but then we found Vinyl Control Storage, and then it just had to be faster. So that was really sad.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do some quick credits here, or we'll do some. First, the taskers that worked on this current version. There's of course us, and then we also have SHGGG, Amber, Pounceer, Renato the Flowy, Vasher, Good Justice, Toaster, Katazer, Exopta, and Blur, which they all helped when porting it from pre 4.0 to the current version.
Or they just generally did improvements. There's also another group of taskers that we have to thank real quick, and that's the people that worked on the old 90, because I think I speak for all 3 of us, and even more people when we say that it probably wouldn't be the same or even really be this way if they didn't work so hard in the original showcase so all that time ago. So we have to thank Uni, Amber, Katiser, Luke, ML Seg, Chili Pepper, Exopta, Rufon, and Vitelari.
And last of all, our special thanks to people that didn't write inputs directly, but still contributed something that helped a whole lot. I've already shouted out Monica. Thank you very much for the map and the me things. Thank you to Katiser for writing the TAS tool, or the TAS improvement bot that helps us make sure everything's synced and we saved as much time as we think we did. This would be even more of a headache than it already is without that. Thank you to Ayelin for starting the new 90 TAS project, giving us the motivation to keep working towards our quote-unquote finished product we have today. Thank you to Demo Jameson, Cygamer, and Lazen for the continued work and support on the TAS tools. There's probably more people on that team I'm missing, but yeah, huge improvements lately. And she's probably still in chat. Thank you to Parrot Dash for going for this platinum in real time, as insane as that sounds, and giving us more motivation to have something impressive to show off.
Yeah, we all follow the TAS and not the TAS. We all follow the Deathless attempts, and it's really fun. Really fun to watch and to be a part of the stream.
Yeah, right now she is at 3 segments, almost 2, very close to it.
And lastly, thank you to Jax for putting together this stream so that we could show you this all today.
And thank you to everyone who decided to take their time out of the day to watch this little thing. We mean it. I do genuinely mean that, because it's just very nice to be able to show what we've been working on for the past year or so. Especially the work on not just the 90% stuff, which is important, but also the stuff on the extra categories that people probably won't pay too much attention for, like a speedrun or a task. So just thank you for taking time out of your day just to watch.
Yeah,
it's very cool watch.
So, Jack, what do we have next in terms of Celeste community?
I think we're rating.
We will have Archithon 5 on May 10th through 12th. That's coming up in a few weeks here. And then I've been a little bit out of the loop here, but I think there will also be one more small event
it was cool.
in late April. Yes, we will have a custom progression study next weekend April 27th and 28th.
I'll see a
So
short
that
time.
will
See, I'll look
be
at it still.
a
If you
cool
send it to
little
me.
bingo event that we're hosting. Definitely follow the channel if you'd like to see some of that. In the meantime, we'll be heading over to Luca Vigna, who's doing some vanilla 100% attempts for world record.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us once again, Jax. Hope everyone has a good night.
Bye for now.
All right, see you guys.
Bye. Oh, I was too late. Alright, that's cool. Wow. I did write down a handful of things to maybe look at. I don't think most of these are gonna be viable, but there's a few things that I just want to look at in the off chance that it might be useful, or even just to try it for fun. But I probably won't do that now because I've already been streaming 5 hours, and it's 12:30, so I probably won't get that much. Like we still have marbles, those are marbles prediction. We'll do that for sure.